How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian, and it is Thursday on this show. You know what that means? We got last night's AEW Dynamite to talk about. A lot of stuff happened on the show, including a big stipulation for the AEW title match coming up in just 3 weeks now at Wembley Stadium. So we'll tell you about that, everything else that happened on the Dynamite show. And we've also got a big weekend. SmackDown is tomorrow. SmackDown is the go-home show for SummerSlam. And we have 2 tag team title matches on the show. I think there will be one title change, but not another. So we shall see. We've also got the Rampage and Collision shows. SummerSlam is Saturday. Got a lot to talk about. The SummerSlam card. I got about 3 hours and 30 minutes of wrestling and 3 more hours of a pre-show. Is anybody going to watch the entire pre-show? Nobody? Okay, just checking. And we've also got the announcement, the official announcement of where Survivor Series is going to be. And it is a surprise. There was some bidding for this show, and the expected Survivor Series location did not end up being where it was expected to be. Also got the WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and Head of Communication doing an interview where he was asked, you can imagine the answer, is there any interest in a WWE versus AEW like combo show? Whatever it would be, supercard, co-promoted show. He had a non-surprising answer. We'll talk about Mercedes Moné, Shane McMahon, and plenty more. Back in a moment to kick it off, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Well, today I was shocked to see the Survivor Series is heading to not Los Angeles, which in fact, it was only a couple of weeks ago that within WWE it was like, it's LA. If you heard the rumors, it's LA. And here we are. It is August 1st, and it is not LA. They apparently were outbid by Vancouver, British Columbia.
Love it.
Survivor Series is going to the Rogers Arena. They're partnering with the Destination Vancouver Tourist Board to bring Survivor Series to the city. So you know what that means? They got a little bit of money.
They do.
Yeah. Triple H posted a video saying he just got off the phone with Destination Vancouver. The deal for Vancouver to host Survivor Series is now official. So they are going, and you know what that means?
You're not going.
I probably am going.
Really? You're going to make that 3-hour trip?
Brother, I went to Boom Pro Wrestling in Vancouver not 2 months ago, and I had a good time. I don't mind Vancouver. So probably will be going to Survivor Series, if you can believe that.
It's probably the only place they're pulling from that time of year. I don't know if anybody's going to make the 7-hour drive from Boise or Portland to the show, but hey, look, good for Vancouver. They have a lot of money to spend when it comes to television and movie production, that's for sure. And obviously, this is something that, again, it seems to be mutually beneficial so far. We have not heard any municipalities coming out and going, hey, this was a complete disaster, or we shouldn't have spent our money here. So some point down the line that may happen. Indianapolis is going to be a big test, running so many shows there to see how that whole thing goes. So, hey, here's the one plus, even though it will probably be snowing in Boise that time of year, but Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't get a whole lot of snow. You don't have to worry about a whole lot of weather besides cold and rain, right?
Great, now it's going to snow. Thanks. Well,
sorry.
I should know that it is officially Survivor Series War Games. So it does appear that we will likely get Bloodline versus Bloodline November 30th in Vancouver. So the full schedule for the next couple of shows, we've got SummerSlam this coming Saturday, Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, Bash in Berlin at the Uber Arena on August 31st in Berlin, Germany. Bad Blood is October 5th, State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Crown Jewel November 2nd in Riyadh, and Survivor Series is November 30th at Rogers. And you know, I was, it's funny. I was on Twitter yesterday, and I forgot to hit the button that I can only hear from my subscribers, so I saw like the whole timeline and a bunch of maniacs. But I did see that somebody was like freaking out. They were burying AEW because Survivor Series has drawn more than Wembley. And they were like, this was some gigantic disaster for AEW. And are people unaware of how hot WWE is right now? I mean, is this a surprise at SummerSlam in a stadium? SummerSlam in a stadium has drawn more than AEW has for Wembley in the second straight year. Is that really a surprise to people? Well, it's not a surprise to me, nor should it be a surprise to you. That's just the reality. WWE is very, very hot right now, and AEW is less hot than they were a year ago. And so you're going to be seeing more of this as WWE runs more giant stadium shows all over the world. That's a story.
And look for it to continue, because who hasn't been wrestling? CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena is going to be lingering around.
This Survivor Series is doing a gigantic number for Cody and Solo. That should tell you everything you need to know about how hot this company is right now.
Now, do we see The Rock, or not The Rock, do we see Paul Heyman / Roman Reigns and or Tala Tonga debut on either one of the shows? Because I could see Tala Tonga debuting on Friday. If you're going to have any tease of Roman or Paul Heyman or something like that, on Saturday, I can see them debuting Tala Tonga and having him help the Bloodline win the tag team titles.
I would not be surprised if Roman showed up, and I also would not be surprised if he did not, because it's SummerSlam.
Hedging your bet there.
It's a good time for him to come back, but at the same time, this Bloodline versus Bloodline Survivor Series isn't for another 4 months.
No.
So, the show, SummerSlam in the Cleveland Browns Arena is at 50,324. Set up for 56,000. They could sell out. Probably not, but still 50,000. You don't need Roman Reigns yet. You've got other shows, which we ran down. I mean, you could build to his return on one of those shows and boost those numbers. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do. My gut tells me he's probably coming back at SummerSlam, but if he doesn't, I won't be in the least bit surprised that they don't bring him back yet. So, yeah, I am hedging my bets, but I don't really care either way. It's going to work out whether he comes back or not. Survivor Series is going to do a gigantic number when they do that. So, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the finish is, because he could always obviously figure into that. If it's, an attack on Cody Rhodes and it's a DQ to end the night, do you want to send people home that way with him getting laid out, or do you hit the music and have him, or even Paul Heyman just poking his little head out, maybe with a neck brace on or a back brace or whatever he could be. And it'll be interesting to see how they decide to go about finishing off that match, because Cody Rhodes defeating him clean, or, defeating him after something backfires on Solo, I'd like to see, because even though they're dead set on this, I'm kind of already ready for Cody and Jacob Fatu.
Oh, I am too, but that's going to be a ways down the road.
I know.
Okay, so SummerSlam is at 5324. Wembley is at 44,646. And for all of you out there who are total maniacs, both of these numbers are great. 44,646 for Wembley is a great number for AEW. And obviously 5324 is a great number for SummerSlam. This is the second most attended SummerSlam of all time. Second only to that Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith
at Wembley
show, also at Wembley, yeah. That did 81,000, which actually that would have been the most attended legitimate WWE show until just very recently. It actually drew more legitimate fans than WrestleMania 3. So that was the WWE attendance record for quite a while, actually.
And let's be honest here.
And actually, as I think about it,
go ahead.
It might still actually be the record, because Wembley barely beat that number. So, anyway, this is the second biggest number ever for SummerSlam.
And you'd figure All In is going to be 50,000 at least, by the time the show is, takes, I know it's only a couple weeks away, but I mean, I could see 50,000 for that show, whatever they announce, a push of tickets, discounting them, whatever they decide to do. So, again, I don't know. The tribalism is going to be there no matter what, as far as people, throwing slings and arrows back at each other. But I don't know why, neither one of those numbers is bad. WWE is going to continue to have them, and it's not like AEW can be dunked on for having 45,000 people in that stadium.
All right, we've got the SummerSlam lineup here. It is Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the Undisputed title. Damian Priest and Gunther for the World title. Bayley versus Nia for the WWE Women's, and Liv Morgan versus Rhea for the WWE Women's World. Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the U.S. title. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the referee. A performance by Jelly Roll. And a 3-hour pre-show, which I will not.
Why can't Jelly Roll be part of the pre-show that I won't see?
I don't know, because he's on the main show, brother. Back in a moment, we got a lot more Observer Live.
There's 1, 2. Now he's got Bryan Alvarez. He whips him into the corner hard. Adam Firestorm following up, catches a boot to the face. Bryan out. Bryan Alvarez with another hard shot to the head. 1, 2. This is the most aggressive I've seen Bryan Alvarez today here in Portland Wrestling. Now he's got his knee across the throat. He's choking him, LC.
Well, it's like this week Alvarez has something to prove, brother. Something to prove to his sweet little lady over there.
Of course, Adam Firestorm with a big win over Black Dragon last week. Looking for another one here. There's a sunset flip. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. Over he goes. 1, 2, 3. It is all over. Adam Firestorm with the victory over beautiful Bryan Alvarez here in Portland Wrestling. Now out Bryan Alvarez firing away with a boot. Action continues after the bell. Goes for the back body drop. No! Face first plant by Adam Firestorm. Your winner once, looks like he'll be your winner twice. Action continues. There's a whip into the far corner. Adam Firestorm follows with a spinning kick. LC, I think Bryan Alvarez has bit off more than he could chew tonight. Miss Rentone really disgusted over in the corner. Adam Firestorm not done. There's a lion sold on top. He hooks him again. 1, 2. 2.5. I thought we had a 3 count earlier in this match, LC. I was wrong.
I can't believe it. I thought Youth Gone Wild was just adding a little salt to the wound. I thought Alvarez was Alvarez and a 2-time loser, brother.
Well, Mark Watson's hand must have stopped just short of the 3 count. And these eyes of mine need glasses because I thought I saw a 3 count Bryan Alvarez going up top.
Oh, well, forget about your cataracts, brother. Up and over he goes.
Nobody home. Adam Firestorm back in control, playing a bit of possum. He's climbing up top. Is Rentone really upset. There he goes. Swamp
oh, and that one hit.
There's a hook the leg. 1, 2, 3. Now it's all over.
A 2-time loser. And does the LC have to look after Miss Rentone tonight, baby?
There's Adam Firestorm, your winner in this match. Once, twice, 3 times, it didn't matter. Bryan Alvarez not up to it. Miss Rentone absolutely disgusted with it. Mark Watson explaining to him it was a 3 count this time. No hook the leg. Fair and square, Adam Firestorm, your winner here on Portland Wrestling. Fans will be right back with after a message from our sponsors.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, Head of Communications, Chris LaGentle, said on a podcast appearance that they have no interest in a WWE versus AEW Supercard or co-promoted show. Can't believe it. Shocking.
Shocked. Yeah.
Yeah. He said there's a lot of great talent outside of WWE. There's no shot being fired. They have not had a conversation about it. And he talked about current partnerships with TNA, Noah, and or he was not asked about the partnerships with TNA, Noah, or Marigold.
Nor did he decide to offer that up either. And I don't blame him.
Anything interesting here? He says...
Did he use as many words as Tony Khan?
No one does.
Okay.
Said that CM Punk has been fantastic to work with in the 8 months in which he has done so and eager to do more outside just his core responsibilities. On Ronda Rousey's recent comments about potentially being interested in returning to WWE, he said, quote, they love Ronda, and she's been a good person to work with on a lot of levels. I sure didn't hear that interview. There's an interview I didn't hear from Ronda.
Really?
Was asked about the Vince McMahon Janelle Grant lawsuit, said they are limited in what they can say, but they have been compliant, and that when they have the opportunity to answer questions, they do, and when they can't, they don't. And then was asked about the difference between dealing with native embedded wrestling media versus mainstream outlets. saying they work with all kinds of press and media and structure their communication strategies accordingly. Unless you're the Wrestling Observer, then they don't.
Did he say work with or work?
Probably a little both. So one of the big things coming out of Dynamite last night is, yes, they shot the angle. Bryan Danielson has announced that his match with Swerve Strickland is now title versus career. Now, I know you all say, well, yeah, his career is ending. No, his career is not ending. He's always said his full-time career is ending, but he will continue to do matches here and there until he's dead. He wants to wrestle until his 60s, 70s, 80s if he can, doing a match here or there.
Wait a second. He said his family wants him to be retired, Brian.
From full-time. Full-time.
Is that what the kid said? Dad, you know what?
Yes, he promised.
We've been thinking about this, and we're thinking you might, at some point, you need the Negro Navarro match. So in that case, we're going to go ahead and let you just, take some time off. We don't want Daddy here all the time. You need to only just be around part-time. Come on.
So he says if he does not win this title, he will never, ever wrestle again.
Ever.
No Wrestle Dream in Tacoma.
No.
No match with, whoever.
Them.
Anybody?
None.
So anyway, I've been telling you guys for a while he's winning this title at Wembley. Now you know.
Yeah, he is.
Where they go from here, I guess we shall see. And where Swerve goes from here, I guess we shall see.
Hangman.
I guess you could do Swerve and Hangman for no title coming up at All Out. And then I guess we'll see what happens there. So that's it.
What happened there?
What?
I just kind of fell off the cliff.
You did?
No. Just the whole
because there's
conversation
nothing
right
to talk about here. We some of you listened, others did not. And of course we've got, the diehards here.
Yeah, what's going on in the chat? That's what's happening here, isn't it?
Lenny who called, he thinks that he might pass that torch to Swerve at Wembley. If I had a quarter for every time that he was wrong about AEW, I'd have a lot more quarters than I got right now.
Plus, still, Bryan Danielson's going to retire at Wembley. He's going to lose to Swerve, and then what? Then what?
Yeah, we'll never see him wrestle again.
Yeah,
his AEW contract expires today. He's free to do whatever he wants from here on out for the rest of his life, but he's going to willingly do a stip where he never wrestles again. Very, very likely, Lenny. Very likely that is going to happen.
Oh, my.
Speaking of Daniels, it is believed Daniel Garcia is probably re-signing. It's not 100% till he does re-sign, but he did talk to a lot of people and he's considered different options, which is why they did that angle with him where he was killed by MJF. If he didn't come back, that was the end of him. If he does come back, that's the angle. It'll be with MJF, probably kicking off at Wembley. We shall see. We also had a statement from Shane McMahon. He issued a statement to Bully Ray that was read on Busted Open After Dark. How many gimmicks am I going to steal? Busted Open After Dark? He said, Tony and I were connected through a mutual friend, and we had a great meeting. We talked about many things, but mostly about our shared love for the business and the rewards and challenges of working with family. I congratulated him on the 5-year anniversary of AEW. Look forward to see how he evolves the business moving forward. There's just nothing to this meeting. This chance meeting of two. I guess Tony is not second generation.
No, he is not.
But, Shad's pretty damn first generation to me. I'll tell you that much.
Look, unless Shad's going to be involved, I don't know about this. And what he has proven is he doesn't want to be involved. He came out, looked awesome. Everybody wanted him back. He hasn't been back yet. This is Tony's thing. What was Shane doing in Arlington, Texas, other than this?
We don't know if the meeting was in Arlington, Texas.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we know where the meeting was. Might have been in Arlington. Maybe we do know, but it doesn't really matter.
Getting his Texas Longhorn tickets ready.
So the Olympics have taken a bite out of all wrestling. Took a bite out of Rampage took a bite out of Collision, took a bite out of Raw. Raw actually, honestly, the Raw number, it was like, I would go as far as say it was good. The number that they did for Sci-Fi, it was like 1.4 million or something. That was like a really impressive number. The NXT show did not hold up nearly as well. They did 468,000 viewers, down 25%. Second lowest audience they have ever done. Second only to when they moved to Sci-Fi for the Winter Olympics in February of 2022.
How about that?
They did a .15, 18 to 49, down 21% from last week. Which actually, you know what's funny? Is that .15? So the actual viewership is the second lowest of all time. And the lowest of all time was another preemption due to another Olympics years ago, okay? But the 18 to 49 was only the lowest rating they have done since April. So I've tried to explain this to people because they don't like to hear that NXT is doing well. But as far as like year over year, I don't think there's any wrestling show doing better than NXT. SmackDown is not doing as well year over year. Raw is not doing as well year over year. All of the AEW shows are doing much worse year over year. But NXT is way up in 18 to 49 year over year. To the point that being preempted to Sci-Fi, it's only their second lowest. It's only their lowest number since April. So anyway, they're doing very, very well. And that's
it's the biggest mind bender of a show in comparison to the others.
It's very hit or miss. I either love it or I hate it.
It's part concept show. It's part dramedy. It is such a bizarre show sometimes when you really step back and think about it. You know, how they portray everybody for their, and the level of experience that most of them have as well, too. It's just, it really is a unique show, and it's going to be, again, really interesting here if it continues on the rise when it goes to CW and what kind of numbers it actually ends up doing over there.
Joe Hendry is training at the Performance Center. I think we all know he's going to be here sooner rather than later.
Well, as soon as
for the
that
time
contract
being,
runs out.
He's still working for TNA. Mercedes Moné will be doing Capital Collision on August 30th. No opponent has been announced, but she will be in action. She is wrestling on the show. That's the show that has Gabe Kidd versus Leo Rush for the strong openweight title. Zack Sabre Jr. and Titan. Tom Lawler and Fred Ross are looking to get their revenge on Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. And Trish Adora versus Hanako. That's the lineup for Capital Collision thus far. Just coming up in Washington, D.C. Sounds like a fun show.
They always do well there, too, apparently. So that's a good thing. They continue to go back every year, so it's obviously a niche they've been able to carve out, so that's good. I'm actually really interested in the GCW show taking place tomorrow. There are 2 Pick Your Poison matches, apparently. Mance Warner against an unknown opponent and Joey Janela against an unknown opponent. And I know that MVP has challenged Josh Barnett for Bloodsport 12 or a Bloodsport in the future, and Josh Barnett has agreed to that bout. But I'm thinking about one of MVP's most famous charges that he ever had in the world of WWE. Omos. At some point, Omos has got to be in GCW. I prefer it to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Omos storms the boardwalk, but we'll see.
All right, we're going to head to a break here in a while. We'll come back with the AEW Dynamite Report. You can also text us. We'll do some questions here. 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline at gmail.com as well. Back in a moment, Observer Live. SummerSlam's going to do 52,000 on Saturday. We got people in our chat arguing that WWE isn't hot. You know we have a YouTube chat. You're welcome to switch over to there. Don't make me do it for you. All right, so Dynamite. By the way, I don't know what happened at the beginning of this show, but the audio was horrific. It's like the announcers were talking through a tin can.
Well, same thing that happened to the lights.
Welcome to Dynamite tonight. MJF coming out for a promo. He's got a lot to say about Wembley. It was bad. So he did come out, and then Ospreay came out, and it was funny. Like, everyone loves Will Ospreay. He's a big babyface and everything, but every time he mentions the American title, which MJF has renamed, it's like the fans start chanting USA.
We're American, damn it.
And he was so confused. And he goes, well, I know you guys are really got that American spirit. But I will restore honor to that international title. And, of course, out comes the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. Will Ospreay beat him with the Hidden Blade. Match was great. Great match. And then MJF jumps Ospreay after the match. He beats him down. Lays him out with the Brain Buster. Kyle Fletcher makes the save. And
Kyle Fletcher makes the save.
Yeah, he's his friend. He's his best friend, Will Ospreay's buddy. And let me tell you something. This guy cut the best promo he's ever cut in his life.
That's true.
Here on Dynamite. And MJF will murder him next week here on this show. So at least
Kyle
he's...
Fletcher.
That. Yeah, Kyle Fletcher. What?
No, just interesting. Just interesting to see how that will play into anything else that goes along. And I wonder how long it is before Don Callis is asking to cash in that favor that Will Ospreay owes him.
Oh, they'll play that up for a while. Jericho got a cake celebrating 102 days as the FTW champion and the demo god. Next week, it'll be the Bad Apple versus Shibata. And I didn't even realize it till just now.
Yeah?
But he said that Shibata was going to get his face smashed by the Bad Apple. And I just realized that the Bad Apple got his face smashed by Shibata 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where he broke his orbital bone in that six-man.
I think the most important thing is nobody got their face slammed into the cake, which, if you were going for heel heat, that got me some, because Alex Marvez, especially for that acting performance, he needed that cake in the face.
Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander in a title eliminator. Man, I don't want to go back to the chat of all things, but...
Yes?
Lenny says, a lot of over-celebrated mid in this country makes more money than it should. Doesn't mean it's a quality product. Just means people don't care what they spend their money on. What a disrespectful thing to say about people.
Well...
Wow.
There are a lot of...
Maybe they actually really like what they spend their money on.
Well,
You're telling me that people are so dumb that they just spend money on something they don't like?
I don't know. There was a lot of Bitcoin bought by people who had no idea what was going on.
Man, oh man.
Hey, look, everything is subjective. People
I spend money on what I want to spend money on. I think most people
yeah.
actually do. They spend money on what they feel is important to them and what they feel is
but
is
I do
quality.
understand part of what Lenny is saying, even though the spirit behind it is somewhat suspect to me. But yeah, people get caught up into something. When something's riding high, people will kind of blindly go with it or throw on blinders as they're going on with it until they get burned out or tired of it. But to fault WWE and to say that they are not putting on a good, at the very least, a good product. If you want to call it mid, I guess you can, but there is a overwhelming majority of WWE fans that, regardless of what any of us think about the Bloodline storyline, that was the thing that helped push them, and there's a lot on that show to like, whether it's Sammy and Braun, whether you like the Bloodline, whether you like or hate the Wyatt Six. They have things spread out right now where there seems to be something that you like. They will try to get you with something on that show. For how long it goes, I don't know.
What Lenny doesn't understand is that with every business, your job is to serve your audience and to give your audience what they want to pay for. That's the job of a business, and that's the job of a wrestling promotion. And so if you are giving the fans what they want, if you're giving them a reason to buy 52,000 tickets for a show this coming Saturday, if you're giving them a reason to set records for merchandise and everything else, you're doing your job. If you're not giving them a reason to do that, and significantly fewer people are paying and going to your shows and buying merchandise, then you're not serving your audience the best that you can, and you need to think about ways of doing that better. And so WWE is the hottest it has been since the Attitude Era, and if you actually just look at how much money they're generating, they're the hottest they've ever been, of all time. No time in the history of this planet has any company ever been hotter than WWE right now, because their audience wants something, and WWE is providing it to them. And it is a lesson that all wrestling companies should learn from, because your job is to get your audience to spend money on your product. And the company doing that the best right now is WWE. And that goes for every business. I don't think I have to explain that to actual business owners because they know this. Non-business owners, if you ever want to run a business, that's your job. Find out how to serve your product to your customers in a way where they will pay for it, and pay for it, well, preferably with a lot of money. So, yeah.
And knowing
and no, it's not record gates due to inflation. They've actually raised ticket prices really, 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 really high, and their audience will pay those prices for those tickets. That's business. That's running a successful wrestling company. Everybody running a business would love to charge as much as possible and have their customers pay for it.
Forget about that, Brian. It's look, it is a premium event product. And I know I just used buzzwords there, but I don't know how else to say it. Concerts in this country, I mean, they have priced people out with festivals and all that sort of stuff. And it's just one of those things. WWE's going along with it. Look at boxing prices. Look at the UFC prices at the Sphere, let alone their everyday ones at the Garden or this place or that place. It's an insane amount of money.
Hey, listen, I'm not a fan of UFC right now, but you're going to try and tell me that's not hot? They're going to do a $50 million gate for a show at the Sphere. $50 million. Have you seen the card? Dude. You couldn't, I don't say you couldn't have a worse card, but, I mean, $50 million gate for that show at the Sphere?
I like O'Malley, but O'Malley, you would have never gotten me to say, who believed that. What fight would be a $50 million gate in Las Vegas? I wouldn't have figured Sean O'Malley would be in the main event, but this is just where they are right now, and you can't fault. To me, I get it. People want to take a shot at WWE or UFC, but it also takes a shot at a lot of the people that are performing really well right now. You're telling me that Braun Breaker hasn't been good. Sami Zayn, a lot of these people have lived up to the role that they need to be playing in at a time where the company was ascending and getting hot again. And to throw shade at all of it because you don't like certain aspects, I don't know.
See, the other issue here with people explaining that WWE is not hot is they don't understand the difference between objective and subjective, okay? This fella here says, Brian, you're proving that people will pay for mid. Mid is subjective. You consider it mid, but their audience does not consider it mid at all.
There are people that really love McDonald's hamburgers, and that's why they sell so
Well, people always
much.
make that comparison to McDonald's. Like, well, McDonald's doesn't make the best food, but it does the best. Because what McDonald's is in the business of doing is offering fast food. And they offer fast food, and they serve their audience better than any fast food restaurant in the world. If you want to compare them to a steakhouse, well, obviously that's two different businesses. One is trying to run a high-end steakhouse where you're going to pay $500 when you go with your family. The other is going to do fast food. There's a lot of fast food restaurants, and one of them is serving their audience better than any other fast food restaurant. And when it comes to wrestling, whether you think it is mid or it is not mid, the fact is they are the most successful wrestling company because to their audience, they are not mid. To their audience, they're awesome. and they don't want to watch anything else. They don't want to watch AEW. They don't want to watch TNA. They don't want to watch New Japan. They want to watch and support WWE and their wrestlers and their characters. They don't think their characters are mid. They don't think their storylines are mid. So your job as a promoter is to make your audience believe that you're the best.
Exactly.
And no company has done that better than WWE. So that's the story. Now, Chris Statlander beat Willow Nightingale in a title eliminator. So she's going to get a CMLL women's title shot down the road. We had the Bryan Danielson announcement that he's putting his title on the line. And then, so this, I got a lot to say about this one tonight. But you want to talk about problems with AEW? Their babyface heel dynamic sucks. And it sucked for a long time. Swerve was a heel. Okay?
Yeah.
And everybody wanted him to be a babyface. But they kept pushing him as a heel, pushing him as a heel. People are cheering for him even though he's a heel. This happens all the time. So they finally turn him babyface. And then they put him in a storyline with Hangman, where Hangman is supposed to be a heel because Swerve broke into his house and threatened his child. And Hangman wants revenge, but Hangman's supposed to be the heel, Swerve's the babyface. Well, now we've gotten to Swerve versus Danielson, and Swerve is now playing total heel against Bryan Danielson. Danielson's supposed to be the babyface, Swerve is supposed to be the heel. And then, after that is established, Bryan Danielson goes backstage, and Jeff Jarrett, who's been like one of the biggest baby faces in the company, he's so proud of Danielson for going all in, and Danielson cuts a promo on him. He says, "Don't touch me. You want to see how all in I am? You and me next week." And he storms off. He's going to kill Jeff Jarrett.
And Jarrett didn't have that look of like,
what is happening?
Okay, I got
what
him
is
back.
happening?
Jarrett had a look of being shocked. Lethal's like, what's going on? So they didn't even... I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand a lot of this Danielson stuff, but you know what? Somebody is going to tell me how it's just the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
God
Swerve
bless.
was a total
Subjective.
heel in this segment. He goes, when you came in here, you said you were going to kick everybody's head in, but then you couldn't take it when they kicked back, like a concussion line. And he's waiting for a reaction from the crowd, and they're dead silent. And he literally stopped his promo, and he looked at the crowd, and he's like, make a noise!
There were a couple of moments like that on the show. That crowd was...
Because they're confused. They want to cheer Swerve. Nana's out there cheerleading. Whose house? And then Swerve makes fun of the guy for having multiple concussions. Then we had Ishii, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe versus the Beast, Mortos, Roosh, and Roderick Strong.
Well, at least Briscoe lost on national TV. I don't care how much everybody loves Mortos. I love Mortos. I love the gimmick. Love the deal. It's great on Collision. I don't know. What are you setting up an ROH match by having Briscoe?
It's going to be Mark Briscoe versus the Beast Mortos for the Ring of Honor title.
That better be on All In.
I'm cool with that.
The only reason I'm saying that is because you better have him doing promos leading into it. Otherwise, why in the world would you do that to that guy on that show?
Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Welcome to the show. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. We don't have time to do this whole Dynamite report, but I will say Hangman and Darby Allin in the main event. It was a great match.
Good stuff.
It was a great match. And then Darby beat him clean in the middle with a cradle. Hangman was furious afterwards. And Darby now has 2 title shots coming. TNT and World title. So there was no way he could lose this match. So we'll talk more about this whole show tonight. Including, oh man.
Which moment?
It's just the Acclaimed. What is going on with the Acclaimed? There's another one.
I don't know.
Are they baby faces or heels? Like Max Caster is doing
heels.
Max Caster is doing something on social media where he's referring to himself as the best in the world and the MVP of that's fine if you do that on social media. But the problem is most normal people aren't following his social media closely, and so he comes on television and he's talking about being the MVP of Blood and Guts, the guy who won the match for his team, even though he had nothing to do with the finish, and how he's the best wrestler alive. And he comes off as a delusional heel. And they cut a promo on FTR, which they said they were going to come get him on Saturday on Collision, but that match hasn't been announced. So I don't know what's going on. Max is much better served rapping. That's what I
don't know. You've heard some of those. If he can actually,
I'm always entertained. I'm always entertained.
Even when he just dies after like 9 bars?
Well, sometimes that happens. You're live, brother. We're live, pal. Anyway, we'll be back tonight with Vinny. New start time, 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 Eastern. It'll be the AW and NXT TV reports, plus plenty more. And then we will be back on Saturday with SummerSlam. So check it out. Thanks, Mike, as always. Callers and listeners up in the studio. About 75% of the chat. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.